What happens when a CEO finds out his customers are being charged more than they should right under his nose? Adam Trent stood by the window of his office, watching the rain smear the glass. His company owned 12 automated parking garages across the state. He'd bought them 7 years ago from a retiring businessman who'd built the chain from scratch. Back then, they were barely profitable. Adam had turned them around, upgraded the software, added attendants at the busiest lots, and streamlined customer service, but something was off lately. Complaints had started trickling in. Not many, but enough to make him pause. A few customers claimed they were being overcharged. One elderly man said he was double billed for a 2-hour stay. A mother emailed saying she couldn't get a refund even though the gate never opened. The district manager, Paul, brushed it off every time. Old software glitch, Paul had said. We're patching it. But this wasn't a tech issue. Adam had a gut feeling. He hated making decisions from behind a desk, especially when money was leaving people's wallets unfairly. He decided to go undercover. He picked the downtown location, Garage 7. It was one of the busiest, right near a concert hall and a hospital. The complaints had come from there more than any other site. He would work as a trainee parking attendant for 3 days. No one would recognize him. He'd never met the staff at this location personally. That was part of the problem. He dressed the part: faded jeans, black company windbreaker, and a baseball cap. He wore brown contacts, trimmed the beard he normally kept full, and practiced a light southern drawl. The ID badge on his jacket read Alex Tucker. He showed up at 6:45 a.m., just before the morning rush. A woman with a tight bun and sharp eyes stood by the small booth that overlooked the entrance. "You the new guy?" she asked, arms crossed. "Yes, ma'am, Alex Meyer Evans," she said, nodding. "I run this lot. You'll shadow Jerome today. He's been here 2 years." Jerome was a tall, quiet guy in his 20s. He looked tired but smiled politely when he shook Adam's hand. "Busy day," he muttered. "We got a convention 2 blocks down." As the morning picked up, Adam observed carefully. Cars came in like clockwork. Most people paid with cards at the exit, but what caught Adam's attention was the way Maya handled the cash-paying customers. She insisted they park in the back row, where there was no ticket machine. Then she'd wave them out later manually. An older woman pulled up around noon. Maya leaned into the window and said, "Cash only, ma'am, $20 flat for the day." The woman hesitated. "The sign says the first hour is free. I'm just picking up my prescription." "Then park at the pharmacy," Maya snapped. "This is premium event parking." Adam watched the woman drive away, confused and embarrassed. "Hey," Adam said later, keeping his tone casual. "Why don't those back row folks get tickets?" Maya glanced at him. "Because they don't need to. Look, you're new, so let me explain. During peak times, we charge a flat rate. Saves time, no fuss. But the machine charges by the hour." "Yeah, and the machine doesn't know what time it is half the time," she said. "It's old. Customers rather deal with a person anyway." Adam nodded, but his stomach turned. Around 3 p.m., a man in a suit came storming up to the booth. "I just got charged $40 for 3 hours. That's robbery." Maya didn't flinch. "Sir, that's the special event rate." "There is no event. I was visiting my dad at the hospital." "Sir, you parked in the premium row." "That's the rule," Maya said, voice sharp. Adam stepped forward. "I'm sorry, sir. I'm new here. Let me get someone to help fix that." "No need," Maya cut in. "He agreed to the rate when he parked. We're done here." The man left, furious. Adam's hands were in his jacket pockets, clenched tight. That evening, when the crowd thinned, he asked Jerome, "Is it always like this?" Jerome looked around before answering. "Look, man, I just do what I'm told. Maya says we pocket flat cash and send reports later. She gives us a cut, not much, but it adds up." Adam froze. "You're telling me she's overcharging people and taking the difference?" Jerome gave a helpless shrug. "If you speak up, she'll cut you out, or make your life hell. People don't last long when they push back." Adam sat in the back booth as his shift ended, heart pounding. This wasn't just a glitch, it was theft, and it was happening right in front of him, but he needed to see more. Needed proof, and he needed to know who else was involved because it wasn't just Maya. The second morning, Adam arrived 15 minutes earlier than scheduled. The air was cold and damp, and he watched condensation crawl across the inside of the booth window as he waited. Maya pulled up in a silver sedan. music thumping faintly behind her rolled-up window. She didn't acknowledge him when she got out. Her boots splashed through a shallow puddle as she unlocked the side door and stepped inside. "You're early," she said without looking at him. "Just wanted to get the lay of the land before the rush." Maya set her coffee down with a clink and started checking the logbook. "You'll be on foot today." "We need someone walking the upper deck. Lot's been filling fast." Adam nodded, pulled on a company vest and headed up the ramp. The top level was mostly empty at that hour. He paced slowly, keeping his eyes on the rows, memorizing license plates and time stamps. The sun started breaking through by 8, and by then, cars were lining up down the street. An hour later, he spotted something strange. A man in a rust-colored hoodie parked near the stairwell, then walked down without paying at the kiosk. Adam followed at a distance, curious. The man reached the booth, leaned in through the side window, and held up 2 fingers. Maya handed him a small stack of ones, and he slipped a folded bill beneath the divider. The man walked away without ever logging a plate, tapping his pocket. Adam made his way down slowly, waiting until Maya stepped out to take a call near the entrance. Jerome was restocking receipt paper inside. "That guy in the hoodie," Adam said, voice low. "He didn't pay for parking." Jerome didn't look up. "He's not a parker." "He's one of hers." "One of whose?" "Maya's friends. They run the side cash. She gives them a cut for bringing in off the books cars." Adam leaned against the doorframe. "So they collect money straight from drivers?" "Yeah, usually during lunch or weekends." "Folks don't ask questions if someone in a vest waves them in." Adam stared past Jerome, watching Maya pace while she spoke on the phone. "That's not just a side hustle, that's organized theft," Jerome sighed. "You're not wrong. But the last guy who brought it up got transferred to night shift in a garage with no heater. Quit a week later." Adam stayed silent, jaw tight. Later that afternoon, a new attendant arrived. She looked barely 20, nervous, clutching her time card in one hand. Maya didn't bother introducing her, just pointed at the kiosk and told her to shadow Jerome. Adam waited until Maya stepped away again. "You knew?" he asked, offering a hand. The girl gave a hesitant nod. "Mia. First day's rough, you okay?" She looked around before answering. "I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing. No one's explained anything. I just got told to stand here and not touch anything unless told." "You didn't get any training," Mia shook her head. "I was told I'd watch for a few hours, then be on my own for Sunday shift." Adam frowned. "Alone?" "Yup. Maya said she doesn't have time to handhold." Adam made a mental note. No manuals, no process, just drop-ins and threats. Around 3, things took a darker turn. A man and his daughter pulled up to the booth. The girl was maybe 10, wearing a hospital bracelet. The man leaned forward, speaking softly. "We were told parking was validated for hospital visits." Maya didn't even glance at the child. "Not at this location. I was just sent here after the ER lot filled up. They said we could park here free for 2 hours. "You were told wrong," Maya said, crossing her arms. "This is private property." The man's voice cracked. "She just had a scan. I'm not trying to cheat anyone. It's 25 or you don't get out." Simple as that. The girl clutched his arm, eyes wide. Adam stepped forward before he could stop himself. "I can handle this one," he said, trying to keep his voice even. Maya narrowed her eyes. "You're not trained on override." "I'll cover the fee," Adam said. "No issue." Maya stared at him for a moment, then turned and walked back to the booth without a word. The man looked at Adam, confused. "You sure?" Adam nodded and reached into his own wallet. "You take care of her." They drove off slowly. Jerome approached quietly. "You just painted a target on yourself." Adam didn't care. Something had shifted in him. This wasn't just shady. It was cruel. That evening, he stayed behind under the guise of sweeping the upper deck. At dusk, he climbed down the back stairwell and waited. Just before closing, a dark green SUV pulled up. Maya came out and handed the driver a clipboard. He scribbled something, then passed a brown envelope through the window. Adam ducked behind a pillar and watched as Maya slid it under her jacket and walked back inside. He'd seen enough. The next morning, he returned to the corporate office. No disguise. No cap. He called security and requested access to the video feeds from Garage 7, focusing on the back gate and booth camera angles. There were blind spots, but enough to catch Maya waving cars through, taking cash and never logging their plates. He downloaded the logs and matched them to receipts. The numbers were off by thousands. Records showed 78 cars entered on Thursday. He'd counted well over 120. A quiet knock startled him. His executive assistant, Lee, stepped in. "You wanted Paul in at 10. He's here." Adam looked at the clock. 9:58, send him in. Paul entered, confident as ever in a pressed blazer and company pin. "You wanted to review expansion numbers." Adam didn't answer. He clicked a file and turned the screen toward him. "Garage 7, you signed off on these totals." Paul glanced at the screen. "Yup, Maya sends them every Friday. Did you ever audit them?" "Honestly, no. She's been with us for years. I trust her." Adam leaned back. "You missed over 10,000 in missing revenue in 1 week." Paul blinked. "That can't be right." "I went in myself, as a new hire, watched her wave drivers through, take cash and pocket it." Paul's face paled. "You went undercover." Adam's voice was calm but cold. "You've been warned about complaints from that location for months." "I thought they were edge cases. I didn't know it was this bad." "You didn't want to know." Adam stood. "She manipulated customers, lied to hospital patients, set up kickback schemes, and you either through laziness or fear let it happen." Paul looked stunned. "What do you want me to do?" Adam stared at him. "You're done, effective immediately." Paul opened his mouth to respond, but Adam raised a hand. "This isn't about emotion. It's about responsibility. I trusted you to oversee operations. You didn't. HR will process your exit." As Paul left, Adam picked up his phone. "Lee, get security. Meyer Evans, Garage 7. Terminate her immediately. Do not let her speak to staff. Escort her off the premises." He hung up and exhaled slowly. There was more work ahead, more locations to check, more unseen corners of his business that needed light. But for the first time in days, he didn't feel like a stranger in his own company. Adam pulled into Garage 7 just after sunrise, this time in his own car. No disguise, no alias. The windbreaker was gone, replaced by a charcoal sport coat and an expression that had settled into something unreadable. He parked near the stairwell and sat for a moment, watching the lot slowly come alive. A few early cars rolled in, headlights cutting through the morning haze. The booth lights were already on, but the usual movement, Maya's sharp pacing between the terminal and gate, was absent. A tall man in a maintenance hoodie approached the booth with a ring of keys. He glanced up as Adam stepped out. "Morning," Adam said. The man gave a polite nod, unlocked the booth, and began flipping switches inside. "Is Mia working today?" Adam asked. The man looked up. "She's scheduled at noon. I'm just here to get the cameras recalibrated. Corporate sent me." Adam nodded. "Good, let me know if you need anything." He walked the lot slowly, taking mental notes. No sign of Maya's car, no signs of the side hustle crew she'd been running, just a cold, quiet morning. By 8, Lee called. HR had processed both terminations. Meyer and Paul were officially out. Adam didn't feel triumphant. He felt responsible. He made his way back to the central office by mid-morning and called a meeting with key operations staff. Only 4 showed up, people he trusted from earlier years, before the company grew too fast. They met in a small break room, not the boardroom. He wanted honesty, not presentation. "I need a list of every garage with irregular cash reports in the last 6 months, Adam said. "Don't filter it. I want raw data, and I want it by location, not just totals." One of the analysts, Carla, frowned. "We've flagged a few before, but they got cleared, mostly by Paul." "Flag them again," Adam said. "And this time, everything goes through me." He turned to another team member, Derek. "How often do we train new attendants?" Derek hesitated. "Officially, once a month. Realistically, it's been inconsistent. We haven't had the staff to keep up with turnover." Adam leaned forward. "How many garages have only one person on shift right now?" 4. "Maybe 5, depending on who calls out." "Unacceptable. Start cross-training admin personnel. Anyone not customer-facing can rotate in. That includes me." They all looked up at that. Adam continued. "If someone can't answer a parking complaint, they can't work here. No more silos." Back at Garage 7, Jerome arrived for his shift just after lunch. He paused when he saw Adam standing near the entrance, arms folded. "Didn't expect to see you back here," he said quietly. Adam motioned for him to walk with him. They moved past the booth and toward the stairwell, out of earshot. "I heard you covered for that family yesterday," Jerome said. That meant something? Adam nodded. I didn't come here to play hero. I came because I didn't want to be blind to what this place had become. Jerome looked down at the pavement. So what now? You're staying, Adam said. But things will change. No more cash cut deals. No more threats. You'll get proper training, a clear job description, and a raise. But I need something from you. Jerome looked up. Help me rebuild this site. You've seen what works and what doesn't. You know who's just surviving and who's checked out. Jerome hesitated, then slowly nodded. I'll do it. But I'm not cleaning up someone else's mess alone. You won't be. A few hours later, Mia arrived for her shift. She looked surprised to see Adam in the break area, sleeves rolled up, untangling a mess of old cords behind the outdated monitor. Hey, she said cautiously. Adam stood and dusted off his hands. You got a minute, she nodded. They stepped outside into the sunlight. I heard you were thrown into things with no training, Adam said, her face tensed. I thought I messed up somehow. You didn't. That was on us. You should have had support, structure, and a manager who actually cared about your development. She looked at him, unsure. I'm Adam Trent, he said. I own the company. Her eyes widened. You're the CEO, he smiled, but not proudly. Yeah. And I went undercover because I stopped trusting the reports I was getting. She looked away, folding her arms. I thought I was going to get yelled at for asking too many questions. You're going to get promoted, she blinked. What? Not right away. First, we'll train you properly. Then, if you're still interested, I want you helping with onboarding new hires. You've seen what happens when we don't do it right. Help me fix it. A pause. Then, quietly, okay. That evening, Adam returned to the office and called a meeting with regional managers. He didn't open with a lecture. He started with a question. What do your attendants need that they're not getting? The answers came slowly at first, then built into a wave. Fair scheduling, heating in the winter, more time to rest between shifts, a standard process for dealing with hostile customers. No one had asked them before. They'd just been expected to manage. By the end of it, Adam had a whiteboard filled with bullet points. He looked around the room. I'm not interested in quick fixes. I want root solutions. Starting tomorrow, we build a new operations manual. One that centers the people who run these sites, not just the numbers. A young manager spoke up. What about the garages where nothing's gone wrong? We've been doing it by the book. Adam nodded. Then you're the ones who will help standardize the book. Over the next week, Garage 7 underwent quiet renovations. The back row Maya used for off-the-books parking was permanently closed. Booth equipment was replaced. Signage was updated to reflect clear, fair pricing. Cameras were repositioned to eliminate blind spots. Adam returned every third day, never unannounced but never distant. He brought coffee for the early shift, helped load new supplies, asked questions, listened. One afternoon, Carla from the analytics team pulled him aside. You need to see this, she said, handing him a folder. Inside were reports from two other garages, Garage 4 and Garage 9, showing similar inconsistencies in cash handling and gate usage. Adam didn't hesitate. Shut down cash payments at those locations until we audit them. No exceptions, even during peak hours, especially during peak hours. That night he called Jerome again. You still up for helping? Yeah, Jerome said. Just tell me where. Garage 4. I'll head there in the morning. When Adam hung up, he sat in silence for a moment, then opened his laptop. He began drafting a new policy, one he hadn't shared with anyone yet. Every quarter, one executive, including himself, would work a full shift at a randomly selected garage. Not as a visit. As an employee, no cameras, no announcements, no excuses. If leadership couldn't stand in the weather, they didn't belong in the tower. He saved the file and leaned back. This wasn't about catching thieves anymore. It was about never letting the distance grow again. By the third week after the fallout at Garage 7, the consequences had rippled across the company. Adam had refrained from issuing any company-wide memo or press release. Instead, he let the actions speak for themselves. Cash handling was suspended at 6 locations pending audit. New training protocols were being drafted by people who had actually worked the lots. And most importantly, managers, especially those who hadn't stepped foot in a garage in months, were being reassigned to operational rotations. Operations were still messy. He didn't expect overnight transformation, but cracks were starting to seal not with duct tape, but with accountability. On a gray Thursday morning, Adam returned to Garage 4. He had been there once before during its acquisition, but hadn't stepped foot on the property since. He didn't wear a blazer this time, just a company fleece, work boots, and a clipboard. This wasn't a visit. He was here to evaluate. A thin man with rectangular glasses and a pressed uniform stood just outside the booth, arms tucked behind his back. His name tag read C. Barnes. He looked up as Adam approached. "Mr. Trent," he said, voice even. "Call me Adam. You're the site lead." "Yes, sir, Charles Barnes." "I've been managing this garage for a little over 4 years." Adam nodded. "I won't take much of your time. I'm rotating through each location to observe procedures firsthand. I'll be shadowing your team today." Charles paused. "We weren't told to expect anyone. That's the point." Charles opened the booth door and stepped back to let Adam in. The inside was clean, but the heater rattled when it ran. A printed schedule was taped to the wall beside a laminated emergency contact list that hadn't been updated in at least a year. A young woman sat at the corner desk, eyes on the monitor. She looked up with a flicker of surprise but said nothing. "That's Keisha," Charles said. "She's on kiosk support today, keeps an eye on gate errors." Adam turned to her. "Have you received formal training on the kiosk systems?" Keisha hesitated. "Some, mostly learned by watching The Last Guy, hands-on or just observation, just watching." "I've only been here 3 weeks," Adam made a note. "You okay jumping on a call with our ops trainer later this week? We're building out a new module and I need input from someone fresh." Keisha smiled, unsure if it was a joke. "Sure, I'd like that." Outside, the line of cars began to build. Adam stepped out and took position near the exit gate where a second attendant named Lewis was managing the flow. Lewis was in his 50s, moved with efficiency, and greeted every driver without rushing. "You've been doing this long?" Adam asked as he caught a lull between cars. "Since before the acquisition," Lewis replied. "Back when this place didn't even have cameras, I stayed because I liked the pace, or used to." "What changed?" Lewis kept his eyes on the gate. "Too many people making decisions from spreadsheets, no one walking the lanes." "You're the first face from the top I've seen in years." Adam nodded. "What would help you do your job better?" Lewis didn't hesitate. "Clear policies, not just rules, but the reasons behind them. So when someone pushes back, I'm not just repeating words, I understand why they matter." Just before noon, a small incident drew Adam's attention. A man in a dark blue sedan had pulled up to the gate and was gesturing angrily through the window. Keisha was already outside trying to explain something. "I paid at the kiosk, but the gate didn't open. Now it says I owe again," the man said, voice rising. "Let me check the system," Keisha said calmly. "Why should I trust it?" "You people are just trying to squeeze every dollar out of us." Adam stepped in. "Sir, I'm with the company. Let's get this resolved quickly." "I was here for 42 minutes. That should have been free, but it locked me in." Adam motioned to Lewis, who pulled up the log. The data showed the payment processed, but the gate sensor had failed to register departure. "You're right," Adam said. "That's on us. You won't be charged again. I'll have this sensor serviced today." The man's shoulders lowered. "Thanks, I just don't like feeling ripped off." Adam nodded. "Neither do I." After the man drove off, Adam turned to Charles. "Is this a recurring error?" Charles hesitated. "It's intermittent. We've reported it twice. Was told parts were backordered." "Who did you report it to?" "Regional maintenance." "Through the old portal." Adam scribbled down the unit ID. "We'll replace it by tomorrow, and we're retiring that portal." At 2 o'clock, Adam sat with Keisha and Lewis in the back office while Charles stepped away to coordinate the afternoon shift. Adam opened his notebook. "Do you both feel safe bringing up concerns here?" Lewis looked at Keisha. She answered first. "I don't know, I haven't been here long enough, but I've seen how Charles handles things. He listens." Lewis added, "He's not the issue, it's everything above him. Requests disappear. Payroll errors take weeks. We need someone who doesn't just collect feedback, we need response." Adam nodded. "That's why I'm here. Going forward, we'll have a direct escalation track, no gatekeepers. You'll each get a number to call that routes to a live team, not an inbox." Keisha asked, "Will that team actually have authority to do anything?" "Yes, because I'm building it myself." As evening neared, Adam returned to the booth. A woman in a wheelchair was waiting outside, her car parked across 2 lanes after a tow truck dropped it off. She looked distressed, phone in one hand, a clipboard of documents in the other. Charles stepped out to help but paused when he saw Adam already approaching. "I was told I could leave my car here overnight," she said. "My engine overheated, but the tow driver said I needed a special pass." Adam crouched to her eye level. "You do, but that's only because we've had issues with abandoned vehicles. You're not being penalized." He waved Lewis over and had him print a temporary permit. He slid it into a plastic sleeve and handed it to her. "You'll be fine until morning. No charge." Her expression shifted. "Thank you. I thought I was going to have to call another tow. You shouldn't have to fight to be treated fairly." By the time the shift ended, the garage had quieted. Charles returned to the booth and leaned against the side rail. "I didn't expect today to go like this," he said. "Neither did I," Adam replied. "You've built a good team, but the system around you failed. That's going to change." Charles looked at him. "Why now?" Adam didn't answer right away. Instead, he looked out across the garage where the last of the daylight was slipping through the entrance. "Because I stopped trusting filtered information, and because I saw what happens when people in charge look away for too long." The next morning, Adam gathered his leadership team at headquarters. This time, he didn't stand at the head of the table. He sat among them. "One thing's clear," he began. "The people who make this company work have been surviving, not thriving. We've rewarded revenue but ignored integrity. That ends now." He laid out a new policy. Every new site lead would be selected from within, based on peer evaluations. Bonuses would no longer be tied solely to financials, but also to employee satisfaction metrics. Anonymous surveys would be conducted quarterly and tied directly to management reviews. He ended the meeting with one final directive. "If you haven't worked a shift on the ground in the last 12 months, you're not eligible to make decisions for those who do. You want to lead. Start by walking their route." There was no applause, just focused silence. Weeks passed. Slowly, systems shifted. The garages still faced challenges, whether staffing, unpredictable customer volume, but the culture had changed. Jerome, now mentoring at Garage 9, sent in a proposal for a new trainee checklist. Mia's training module was already in use at 4 locations. Lewis was leading a peer review panel to identify outdated procedures. Adam didn't return to his office window often anymore. His desk was frequently empty, not because he was gone, but because he was out walking lanes, adjusting signage, or sitting beside attendants in booths with flickering lights. The company wasn't fixed, but it was no longer broken by silence, and the next time a customer claimed they were overcharged, they didn't receive a dismissive email. They received a phone call from someone who had stood where it happened and who made sure it wouldn't happen again.